And I'm going to refresh. And let's see. Not yet.
And welcome to our Thursday's talk on Facebook Live. I've got Rich on the other line, and he'll be reading your comments. We appreciate your comments. If you put in your name, where you're from, we love to hear where you're from. And Rich can also help relay your questions to me, but also we review the questions to give rise to the next topic. And I'm just going to do a little test here. Rich, are you able to hear me?
Yep, I am. Your sound is perfect. And we have 2 people so far.
Okay, so I do have that on my screen. We're not officially started yet. I suppose when you redo these, you cut out this little beginning?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
When I edit them, yes.
That's great. So we can have a little chat beforehand. And
I'm excited about your book coming out in a minute. This is going to be great.
Yeah. I'll start out talking about that. Do you know the name of the book? It's called Be Happy. Be Happy with or Without a Man.
What a great title.
Yeah, I'll be talking about that a little bit as we begin.
I have Linda from Florida.
Okay. Yeah, let us know first names and where you're from. It's fun to create a sense of a community here. After all, we do talk about relationships, and community is important for relationships, although I know hopefully all of you have your different communities, and join us in our Thursdays and as we look at the questions. So it officially just started. Hi, everybody. This is our Thursday talk at Facebook Live. I'm John Gray. Rich, who's the head of the Mars Venus Coaching, he is with me here by phone. He lets me know who's here. He lets me know your questions. We review them, and so that I can look at your topics. But please take a moment to say that you're here, your first name, where you're from. It's always fun to see where people are from. We just see people in different places.
From Florida, from Colorado. Yes, so far.
Okay. So please join us. Let your friends know that I'm live. I answer questions, at least the questions that you put in the chat box, and we look at those to sort of focus this information. I have exciting news towards the end of this month. This is August, and there'll be a release on Amazon of a book I've been working on all year, which is based upon last 8 years of not having written a book. It's a lot of information, and it's called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, Book 1 for women only. And the theme of it is Be Happy with or Without a Man. And this is an important concept because many times women will look at my book or even not even want to read the book because they feel their husband won't read it. And what I've seen over and over from women saying, look, I just put this into action. These new insights help me bring out the best in this man. And I, of course, know that to be the case because as a counselor, mostly I get, for relationships, mostly women come in. And all I have to do is help women understand men in a new way, in a new light, and apply some new skills. And you can bring out the best in a man. See, what happens is when you fall in love with a guy, and here we'll focus on the relationships, and we can look at dating as well. We always try to include that. But if you've been dating somebody and it didn't work out, these insights often help you understand why it didn't work out. So even if I'm not directly addressing dating, it's changing your awareness of men and how men and women can interact. And it's different today than it ever has been before because women are more independent. And as soon as you put that little piece into the puzzle, everything changes in terms of the relationship between men and women. We're wired up for thousands of years to be where women were more dependent on men because they were getting pregnant all the time, didn't have birth control, didn't have education, and didn't live in a world where your fingers on your computer can make you lots of money and you don't have to use your muscles so much. So talking and managing and directing, this is a whole new world for women, and it's fantastic. And yet it creates a whole new set of problems. And the problems are how it affects men. You want a man to cherish you, to love you, to be dedicated to you, to miss you, to want to be with you, to love you so much that he's willing to share everything with you. And from his point of view, he's happy to do that if he's activated without getting anything back. Men are selfless. And I know you experience it. No, all the men I know are selfish. I go, no, you haven't brought that part out of them. Is that, and there's a biology thing here, being warriors, protectors, etc. We have to first protect ourselves, give ourselves what we need. But when we have what we need, then life is miserable unless we share it with somebody and selflessly share that. And this is the goal for men. And it used to be really clear. When I was growing up, what are you supposed to do? You become educated, you make money, you find a woman, you provide for her, and you create a family, and you live happily ever after. That's a great, great model. And now we have to add into that model, we have to extend it out so that women can also not get married when they're 21. Because see, what happens is when you're 21, you haven't yet developed your sense of identity. Identity is really important. And that identity of being unique and special, self-sufficient, and I can make myself happy. That's the foundation before you can have a really successful relationship with a man. That's why this book is called Be Happy With or Without a Man. If you can be happy without a man, then suddenly you become like honey. The bees will come. It's if you've noticed that when you are dating a man, and you're feeling somewhat happy, more men are interested in you. You have a magnetic power. This is women's attractive energy when they're getting what they need. And what they need is to feel someone wants them, wants to be with them, wants to please them, wants to help them, wants to support them, wants to spend time with them. That external support from a man enriches femininity. There's a polarity of masculine and feminine. And of course, when you listen to me, most of you have already heard this, but it's important to remind ourselves this isn't just some fictional idea. This is biology. And the biology is such that when a man feels that he can make a woman happy, and he can be the one to succeed in getting her, making her happy, fulfilling her, it's like, I'm going to win. I'm going to win in her eyes. And when a man feels I can win in her eyes, he's number one. His testosterone shoots up, and men need to make 10 to 20 times more testosterone than women. Otherwise, we're stressed out. Otherwise, we have no energy. Otherwise, we're just sort of passive or angry or bitter or irritable. And so this is a lot what's happened to men in the world, is that they don't feel needed by women, because as soon as women are, I don't need a guy, then the guys have no job. That's always been our job. We're wired up to be that way. So we as men have to learn what do women need from us and provide that for them. But women have to be open to that, which is why I'm developing I have this whole book. I have 6 books already written in this series. I just have to edit them all, which is a big process. This book is called Be Happy With or Without a Man. It's the foundation. It's the basis of the whole thing. Then the next book is Why Men Fall in Love and Stay in Love. Again, a whole new knowledge of how to stay in love, how to keep the passion. And we're going to be talking a bit about that today. Next book is, How to Talk So a Man Will Listen. It's very, very important, because so much of the time women unknowingly sabotage communication with a man. They have no idea how his brain is different. And I explained the whole brain differences. There's all this amazing science on mirror neurons. And men, their mirror neurons are almost closed all the time, whereas women, they're open all the time. And mirror neurons allow us to feel what somebody else is feeling. But something miraculous happens is that when a woman can communicate in a way that opens a man's mirror neurons, it sustains this selflessness, this compassion, not empathy. We don't feel so much empathy. And if we do, we're way too on our female side. We're like a girl. What we feel is compassion. We have a sense of what you're feeling. You can measure this in the brain. Only a little activity in the limbic system, that's empathy. And then it shifts into the prefrontal cortex, where he's optimistic, he's wanting to solve the problem, he wants to fix things, he wants to take action and do things. How to trigger that compassionate state without him interrupting what you're feeling. Because if what you're doing in your communication with him is complaining about him, his mirror neurons close. How to communicate to keep his mirror neurons open and how to sustain them so he feels like in love with you. You'll find a man will feel the most love. Biologically, you can see it. The centers in the brain light up. The mirror neurons open the widest when he's having sex. Sex is the greatest thing. But if he's having sex with you and you're not into it, they don't open up. The mirror, he has to reflect you feeling completely surrendered and open and trusting of him. Trusting, receptive means accepting and appreciating, enjoying. These are the three primary ways of focusing on what men need from women and what women need to have lower their stress. Whenever a woman can feel trusting, at ease with what is and appreciating her life, what's happening for her? She's happy. So we can summarize this in the idea that, when women are happy in response to a man, his testosterone goes up. So how do you get more from a man? You learn how to be happy. And if you can learn to be happy without a man, oh my gosh, now a man is in heaven with you, because his job then is to make you happier. Because if women were happy all the time, it's all paradoxical. If women are happy all the time, men are out of work again. It's like men just say, oh, my wife's never happy. I say, it's not that your wife's never happy. It's that when she's not happy, you don't know what to do to raise her up. So if women are happy all the time, which a lot of women try to be, but they end up pushing down all their negative emotions, repression, suppression, then they lose passionate interest. If you suppress your emotions, you cannot sustain the 3-year wave of attraction to your partner. You get this, it can be 6 months, it can be 8 months, it can be 3 dates, but generally when you're with the right person or someone close to the right person, you get about 3 years of the honeymoon period to some extent. Now, during that time, his testosterone levels are high just because the relationship is new. His dopamine levels go up, and as long as a man feels confident that he can make you happy, his testosterone levels stay up. And when his testosterone levels are up, his energy is more focused on you. He's more attentive to you. He's more supportive to you. When you come into the room, he notices you as opposed to when you've been married 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Yeah, he doesn't even notice you. You can walk around naked, he wouldn't even see anything. But in the beginning, he notices a lot because you're sharing vulnerability. But when anything is repeated over and over and over, there's no vulnerability. You know what to expect. See, part of vulnerability is not knowing what to expect and the potential danger. Well, it turns out that vulnerability is the most important thing to raise a man's testosterone. I mean, her vulnerability. This is like amazing. It's also a men's vulnerability. We don't look at men's vulnerability in the same way as women's. A man's vulnerability is to say, I'm going to do this, and then he's not sure if he's going to be able to pull that off. So that also is something that you can't feel confident unless you're challenged. Okay, there's a problem. That's a vulnerability. There's some potential danger. Okay, I'm choosing to do something. I get on this talk. I'm choosing to give this talk. There's potential danger, right? I could say the wrong things. I could hurt people. People could not like me, whatever. So there's potential danger. So I'm vulnerable, but I'm confident. So if I'm confident and vulnerable, my testosterone goes even higher. For a woman, it's not so much about confidence, or it's easy to think it's confidence. And to a certain extent, we can look at it as confidence, but it's more trusting. When a woman is vulnerable and she's trusting, I can get the support I need. The word trust is really important there because it's different from confidence. And trusting is like, I trusting I can do something. But vulnerability is trusting I'm confident someone can do something for me. So that's trusting. And whenever a woman is trusting, her stress goes down, her art opens, and it happens to be the best way to bring out the best in men. So what is bringing out the best in men? That's how you questioned today. Well, I'll let Rich talk for a moment. He can say something. I sort of launched into this because he told me one of the questions is, go ahead, Rich, what's the question?
How to keep the marriage alive.
Yeah, this is a very common thing, and I get to launch into that with one angle, another angle, another angle, another angle. If you were to ask me, how do you become successful in business, or how do you use AI, which is now a big thing? There's like 40 different ways to use AI. It's complicated, And relationships are complicated, particularly today, because we've changed the whole mixture. We've changed everything. As soon as women are independent, you have a whole new set of problem parameters, but under a heading of how do you keep the passion alive, you can simplify it down, which is what I've kind of just done, but I'll do it again, is you keep the passion alive by something called polarity. Polarity is where she's more feminine, he's more masculine. Done. How do you do that? Well, now you've got a whole subset of chapters, which I've written in these 6 books, on how women can sustain healthy estrogen levels and even into menopause. Okay, you want to have great sex your whole life. You want to have a loving, passionate relationship your whole life. Well, women, you can't just let nature take its course on you in our modern world. I think it wasn't always the case in the past, but we don't know. We didn't have hormone tests, but we know today that when women go through menopause, because the eggs and perimenopause, which is even over 40 women can start having it, where your body stops making estrogen. And now there's 2 types of estrogen. One is estradiol, which is you're a young woman and you're cycling, you're having a period, your body makes estradiol. And then there's, once you're not cycling, once you start not having your period, your body is making estrone. And estrone is a different version of estrogen. There are variations of estrogen, but estrone is called weak estrogen. So I looked up, okay, what does weak estrogen mean? It means it doesn't have all the other benefits of estrogen. Estradiol, that's the young version. Estradiol, the older version, is estrone. And when you have estrone, you don't feel you need anybody. You can do it yourself. You can do it yourself. Well, ironically, and then you have vaginal dryness, you have lack of interest, men don't turn you on, you don't feel this trigger, you don't have that excitement. So many women listening, you're over 40 years old, you're wondering, and you're single, you're wondering, why am I not turned on to the men I'm dating? They fit all the boxes. They've got a job. Here are the basic boxes, by the way. He's got a job. He can't be dependent on you money-wise, okay? He's got to be able to be self-sufficient financially. And pretty much he needs to be happy with or without a woman, okay? So there's a dynamic there. Now you've got this other aspect of he's got a job. He can support himself. That's 1. 2, he has reasonably good manners and so forth. And he respects you. He respects your boundaries. And your boundaries, in talking about the dating, is when you're going to have sex, how much time you're going to spend with him, how much you're going to give to him. And now we open up the chapter of another chapter in the book, which is on women's tendency to have codependence. Codependence is a very popular book back before Men Are From Mars. And I'm grateful to the author because, here I'm trying to figure women out. And that was really a good book to read as a man, to understand this phenomenon of codependence. And mostly it's all women who are codependent. And then you get men who are too far on their female side. They're not making enough testosterone. They also become codependent, which is a pitiful situation where a man is making, he doesn't have a sense of what it is that I need in a healthy perspective. For men, what I need most, in a relationship is to feel I can provide for my wife's happiness. And as I mentioned before, if women were happy all the time, there'd be no job for a man. So yet your great superpower is your happiness. So it's paradoxical. I remember I had a chapter in the book, and actually I just took it out again in one of my books, but we were writing the Understanding Men course together with my daughter, Lauren. And I said, a woman's smile is her superpower. And my daughter, Lauren, was like, no way, Dad, don't give that message. Because, we women were all taught we have to smile all the time and be happy all the time. And so I said, okay, but the reality is when you're happy, what emotions are you generally feeling? Trusting, accepting, and appreciating. That's right from Men Are From Mars, the book, the classic, which are the forms of love that bring out the best in a man. Now we know that when you're accepting, and accepting is just like he makes the wrong turn on the freeway, and you basically have a reaction like, no big deal, we'll get there. Now that's impossible for many women, I get that. So you can have your emotional reaction, but then afterwards come back to, that's really not a big deal. just, you can always do that later. You say, yeah, I overreacted. Now, that's hard for women to do. I get it, so I don't push it. But basically, just to know that not overreacting to situations afterwards, after overreacting, just acknowledge, I realized I was upset about that. It was no big deal, not really a big deal. But what I explain to women, to tell men, you can tell men, honey, and everything about this book is what you can tell men and how you can change yourself. Because if you want better relationships, how do you do it? You change yourself, and you change the way you communicate to your partner. Which, by the way, I was talking about all these 6 books. I've never shared this, so I'll continue. There's the Be Happy With or Without a Man. Then there's Why Men Fall in Love and Stay in Love, which is a bit of our topic today. And another one is How to Talk So a Man Will Listen. Very important. Another one is, I think this is number 4, what to do or not do when a man pulls away. So many times in the dating situation or in marriage, men have to take their cave time. Men pull away. Men's testosterone goes down. Men's estrogen goes too high. All these different variations of what goes on in relationships. The way women instinctively react in most cases is to push him away. So many women just say, oh, he's changed. Well, you've changed. You have to realize that your independence affects men. And ironically, the older you get, the more testosterone, more confidence you have in life, the smarter you are, the more independent you will be. But if there's not a opening for him to go in, for you to feel, I need him to come in, he's just going to become bored with you. He's going to lose interest in you. He loves you. That's another thing. Men can love you, but not feel the love. I was just writing about that, editing on that yesterday. Is that there's a whole dynamic of, I love my wife, but I may not feel it. So in one of my books, that's in the book, How to Stay in Love, is the techniques you can do in your relationship so that actually he can feel his love again and again and again. These are important exercises that are all initiated by women, that women can draw out the best in a man, and you kind of go, well, why can't he stay like he was in the beginning? Because in the beginning of the relationship, both of you were different. And, there was no history, so you had nothing to complain about in the past. Whereas once women have disappointments and frustrations, they ruminate. This is another scientific difference, proven difference. Women tend to ruminate about these things because you need more estrogen. You need to make 10 times more estrogen. And ironically, estrogen comforts you, it calms your brain, but it can also, the behavior that stimulates the estrogen can also, to calm your brain, can keep upsetting you to calm your brain. And that's rumination. Women's brains, they'll just go over something. And the irony is that when you're feeling emotion, you will produce some estrogen. There's no question about it. So if your estrogen's low, feeling negative emotions can be addictive. And this is borne out, is that there's women have addiction to negative thinking, negative emotions. It's just automatic. Whereas we come back to men, why do men change? When the beginning and the newness of a relationship, there's new, it's dopamine gets produced, the motivation hormone, the pleasure hormone, the anticipation, exciting hormone, the thrill, that's your dopamine. And you get that automatically when you start feeling the anticipation of making your dreams come true. There's big reward. Like if I thought I was going to suddenly get a check in the mail, already I'm going to feel like a millionaire. Already I'm excited. I'm anticipating success. Okay, so that's anticipating getting what you need. For a woman, it's anticipating getting the support she needs. For men, it's the anticipation of success and making a woman happy so that he can get what he needs, which bottom line is a woman who loves him and also a woman who wants to have sex with him. It's a hard thing to explain this because just acting like you want to have sex with a man doesn't do it for him. Maybe a little bit for a short period of time, but it's actually wanting to have sex with him that just knocks a man's testosterone up, activates, the passion in a relationship. But that's not a choice. You see, you can't just suddenly choose to feel the juices that say, I want to make love with this man. It doesn't happen automatically. Your estrogen levels have to double. It's biological. Now, if you just are compliant, it's like, in my book, Mars, Venus in the Bedroom, Great book. I think all couples should reread it every year. Just reread it in bed. It's a fun book. It's I don't know. It's a beautiful book. It's very poetic. It's very G-rated. It's not having to uh, activate these subconscious sexual urges. It's like beautiful. It's like a G-rated movie basically. You fade to black and the music plays. Okay, they wake up happy. So it's a way couples can learn about biology and how our bodies are different and what women need and how to communicate in the bedroom and all those things, which most couples don't know. They don't know. And so it looks at the differences between men and women in the bedroom, which are most obvious. And then we've got so I'm basically making the point right now that a big part of keeping the passion alive is having high enough estrogen levels for women so that they can want to be with their partner. There's a dynamic here that I want to mention in terms of some of the problems of trying to keep a marriage going, which is with passion. Is that passion increases as women's estrogen goes up. So women are having, let's just say 10 times more estrogen than a man, feeling support in her life that stimulates those hormones of estrogen. Then 5 days towards ovulation, the estrogen levels will rise in her body. It will naturally do it if she feels support in her life. But what happens is her mind changes as her estrogen levels go higher. Again, remember what's happening. Her body is creating more estrogen naturally if she's cycling so that she has the potential to make a baby. So what goes along with the potential to make a baby? Increasing estrogen stores fat. Okay, so she's going to store fat. So she'll gain a little more weight at that time. Not a whole lot, just a little bit more. The body's holding on to fat. She's looking for, the brain is looking for, the body is saying, okay, we got to prepare for making a baby. But also what's going on in her mind? She's going to be looking like, what's missing in my life? What do I need? I need shelter. I need man. I need support. I need a man to help me make the baby. This is all designed. So what happens during those 5 days before ovulation is her mind is looking for what's missing. Okay, what's missing in my life? So then once she's looking at what's missing, then problems come up. She wasn't missing anything for the first 5 days after her period. Now she's suddenly missing things. That's why women will suddenly say, we never go out. Why have you done this? Or you never do this. It's suddenly her brain, is looking at what's not available to her. And that can look like complaints. And her mind just goes towards a bias, towards looking at negativity. And that, of course, is the foundation of romance, which is a woman missing something. I feel I'm missing something, and I'm here to provide what you're missing. And that creates the dynamic where men are interested in women. Men feel I can make a difference with her. And we remember that, even though those 5 days are like critical. Now, what happens during those 5 days is she will then ovulate. Okay, so if she ovulates, if the estrogen gets high enough, she'll ovulate. After ovulation, towards her period, her body makes estrogen. It continues. If she got enough estrogen to ovulate, estrogen levels will pretty much stay up. Not completely, but they'll pretty much stay up. But what happens is her body's designed to make progesterone. And progesterone at that time is supposed to balance the progesterone and estrogen, with progesterone being higher. So to make sense of this without just being a bunch of technical, nerdy stuff, the point here is that what makes progesterone? What makes progesterone is when a woman, if she's extroverted, is she's doing a lot of social bonding without any pressure to please anybody. She's got friends. She's got support. She's not looking to her husband so much. Her husband produced all that estrogen in those 5 days. Now, in the time where her progesterone needs to go up, and some estrogen, she still needs to feel support in her life, but more so, she needs to go out, and if she's extroverted, through social bonding. We have studies showing that social bonding actually raises her progesterone. Or if she's introverted, she needs more me time. That's why Lauren is a bit more introverted, wrote a whole book called How to Get Your Me Time. But it applies to both men and women, both women who are extroverted and introverted. But you've got to have that time separate from depending on a man. That's why this whole book, How to Be Happy with or Without a Man. If you can't be happy without a man, meaning your husband's ignoring you, whatever, and you're happy, you're not making progesterone. And progesterone, after your period, after your ovulation, towards your period, is the most important hormone for you. And if you don't have it, then what happens is your estrogen goes too high. And when estrogen goes too high and progesterone's too low, you will feel anxious. Now, what would that mean? Is that in terms of psychology, is if you're not getting enough social bonding, that means bonding with other women, that means having friends, that means doing things together, feeling mutually supported. You see, estrogen is not mutual support. The idea of a relationship with a man, which is your biggest estrogen producer, it's not mutual. Okay, basically, it's one-sided. It's all for the woman. You know, when women come in here, they often say men are so selfish, but really, she's got a list of 10 things that she wants, and it's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough. Who's selfish here? But there's no doubt he's not providing. But she's over looking at me. And in her own mind, she's thinking, I'm doing so good. I'm doing so good. On the surface, yes, you think you're doing good. But the only thing a man needs from you, bottom line, is not you doing anything for him. What he needs from you is for you to receive him. Is that when you feel accepting, appreciative, dependent, needing something, not everything, but he makes a difference in your life. So it's kind of like, if I put it in male terms, if I was a female, and well, I guess I can't do that, but it's just simply like, I'm happy because I get paid so much money. To see, if you pay me a lot of money, I'll be happy. You know, if you give me opportunities to speak around the world, I'm happy. You know, just give to me, me. Well, that's the same for women. Give me attention, give me affection, give me understanding, give me financial support, give me security, give me your time. Me. We both have our me's. So, but when men don't realize what women need and how he can provide it, and what women need today is not so much what women needed in the past. It's included in that, but it's not as important. What women need today is a new kind of support. It's a support from a man that says that I'm special. There's monogamy. I'm number one. Affection, attention, understanding, respect, consideration. Listening is a big thing. And I'll get to why listening is such a big thing. Bigger than any of the emotional needs that women have. Listening is for a man to hear you is so important. Because as you go to your male side, what happens is you suppress emotions. To be on your male side, you have to suppress emotions. You push down your female side. Well, when men go into the workplace and they push down their emotions, they're not pushing them down. They're just disconnecting from them because they're masculine. Masculine energy is testosterone. There's no emotion with it. If you have no estrogen, if you're a man, you have no emotion. And when you're in the workplace, you're solving problems, there's no estrogen being produced, or only very little bit of estrogen being produced. And this is, again, biology. It's a stress reaction. When a man's body makes adrenaline, that's moderate stress. As long as he feels confident, he has no negative emotions. You can measure blood flow stops to the emotional part of his brain when a man is handling problems. If he feels confident, as soon as he stops feeling confident, now adrenaline is no longer the major hormone being produced. Now he goes to a higher stress level, which is cortisol, increasing cortisol. Once he's getting more and more frustrated, now he starts getting angry, and that's cortisol. That's the fight or flight reaction. And men have that's a whole different chain of reactions in men as opposed to for women. For women, when they have adrenaline, they have more emotion. I mean, this is amazing when you really look at the biology. You know, these are things that I talked about for 40 years, what I observed. But it's so exciting with this book to give you references to these many points that I'm making. I mean, that was just amazing to see confirmation here. And that's what's taking so long in this book, is finding the references and studies and everything to verify every point I make. It's quite amazing. And even I have to use ChatGPT which helps me to do it, to find research and so forth. And even Chat can't always find it. I asked Chat, okay, show me the research. What produces estrogen? I must have spent a whole week, studying, this whole thing, trying to find the research. And I finally found it. And Chat couldn't find it. It was finally a variety of different studies and putting them all together. But it turns out this is such important information for women who, both when they're cycling, what produces estradiol, but also what produces, if your body is making estrone and you're perimenopause, going through menopause, after menopause, post-menopause, all those symptoms is all because you're not making estradiol. You're making estrone. And your body's adapting to gradually post-menopause. You have mainly just estrone, which makes you like a man. Like, I don't need anybody, but not like a man, because a man still needs sex. A man still needs to connect with a woman. A man still feels his need for love. Men are more likely to get married again. What's the deal here? Well, it's when estrone gets produced, women don't feel that need for affection and support as much. That's estrone. Well, I finally found out how women can produce and do produce estradiol at any age. And that is if you experience what's called a acute stress. Acute stress means you're emotionally upset and then within a short period of time, you're happy again. Kind of what therapy is. It's what I do with women. I get them to cry, get them to express negative emotion for a few minutes, just for a few minutes. And then they feel really good. Okay. They express negative emotion in a safe context. See, this is not, unless you choose to do this, this won't happen. You only have negative emotion when your brain is telling you that you're threatened. But if you can be in a safe setting, so you're safe, so there's no reason for negative emotion, right? So when you're safe and you bring up negative emotion, then your brain goes, oh, well, we don't need to hold on to these negative emotions because I'm safe. It's the whole foundation of therapy. It's the most powerful estradiol stimulator in existence. Because now the research shows that if a woman is in a state of acute stress means it's dangerous and then it's not. That's the most important thing. It has to become dangerous and then it's not. So, for example, a woman is sharing her emotions and then you get into an argument, then there's no resolution. Only stress hormones get produced, not estrogen, not estradiol. But here's a woman making estrone. If she then chooses to look at her negative emotions, which are not going to immediately be available, she has to look to see what they are. It takes, it's kind of like meditation. You go into a deep state to find true self. Well, here you take time to look at, identify negative emotions. And by identifying those negative emotions, which you don't automatically do, you have to have some extra awareness to do this. That's what a therapist or a coach will do by asking another question. Well, why did you do that? Let me give you an example of that right now. For me as a man, in my 70s, of course, I have more estrogen. Men get more estrogen, but I have to keep my testosterone up. But I can easily go over to my estrogen side to keep that balance. All I have to do is relax a moment. We can all relax together. We can all take a deep breath. And then now, be more relaxed. My adrenaline goes away. I will connect more with my feelings automatically. And then I ask myself, what do I miss? What do I miss in my life? I miss my wife, Bonnie. Now, I am remarried. I'm very happy being married. But when I relax and I do a scan inside of what am I missing? There's a part of me that I miss Bonnie. I love. So I ask myself, well, why do I miss her? And I miss her because I love her so much. I love her so, so much. And that love heals the pain of missing something, missing someone. And then I feel really good. I feel really heartfelt. I feel happy. And I don't miss her again. That's just like, I go into that place. But see, she's become a part of me. That's what happens when you marry someone, you have a long life together, particularly you have a monogamous relationship. What happens in a monogamous relationship is you become one with your partner. Monogamy, interesting. The whole big section in the second book, which is why men fall in love. There's this, as soon as you're monogamous, you have sex with a partner you're monogamous with over time. It's not like serial monogamy. Tonight I'm with this one, tomorrow I'm with this one. That's a big joke. but you actually have a history with somebody of being monogamous, what will happen is after sex, your body will make 400% more prolactin. Prolactin is another hormone in this big story of hormones, but it's the most bonding hormone. This is why it's so painful when you have a divorce or when you break up or when you discover your partner's had an affair or something. You realize the monogamy is not real. Prolactin levels stop. It's like, you're my arm and you just cut off my arm. People who lose their legs, they're missing their leg, missing that part. So yes, you'll miss a lot. But with learning to process emotions, you're able to take that painful moment and actually use it again and again to open your heart. All the bad things that happen in our life are ultimately grace. I know that's hard to hear. I got some bad things, okay, but ultimately, from this perspective, by processing the emotions regarding the events, it brings you back to being on track to who you are, to your heart open, to feeling love and support, to feeling motivated, to be aligned with your purpose and destiny, to attract into your life those situations that you're consciously choosing instead of unconsciously choosing. You see, when you have trauma underneath, your positive mood, what happens is the universe reacts to the vibration of your trauma that you're pushing down. When you push things down, the universe reacts so you can become aware of those things. And that's why we all always have these problems in our life. Problems never go away, but they're all there to teach us lessons and to grow and develop. So that was a sweet experience. So back to how to create estrogen, which is what I just did. And if you have estrone, if you were to learn to process your emotions, instead of just saying, oh, life is hard, or that was difficult, or I guess I have to do this, nobody will do it for me. Those are just thought patterns. But if you analyze those thought patterns, underneath it are hidden emotions, even though you're in menopause, even though your body's making estrone, or if you're a woman who's on your male side, it's like you're in menopause, you're not making enough estradiol in order to feel orgasmic, in order to feel attraction to a man, in order to feel, and amazing what happens is when you feel attraction to your partner, man feels attracted to you, you feel attracted to him, that is a symptom of high hormonal polarity. And what we can do is consciously learn how to create this polarity. That's the next book. And there's third one is what to do, not to do. The fourth one is what to do, not to do when a man pulls away. The fifth one is for women over 40, creating a lifetime of passion. And that's where we actually go into the actual details of hormone balancing. And the number one thing that inhibits healthy balance as a symptom of hormonal imbalance is stress hormones. And when you're in danger, stress hormones automatically get produced, which throws your hormones out of balance. However, when you're not in danger and you're just a woman doing male stuff and not female stuff, and you're a man doing female stuff and not male stuff, your hormones go out of balance. And when they go out of balance, your brain goes, oh, I'm in a stress state, I'm in danger. And you start overreacting to life like you're being chased by a tiger. But you're just going to work, being on your male side, not supporting your female side. But when your hormones go out of balance, it's a signal to the brain that you're in danger, and you'll produce stress hormones when there's nothing to threaten you. Or if something is threatening you and there's danger, then your hormones will go out of balance. Do you understand? This is the bidirectionalness of the brain. And a lot of scientists really hate this, and yet it's real simple logic. They want to say that only what you think controls your hormones. And yet any woman going through menopause, or any woman having her period, knows that when your hormones change, regardless of what you try to think, they're going to affect your thinking. This is like this nonsense to think that it's not a two-way street. Yes, what you think and how reality is perceived by you will trigger your hormones to go in balance and make you feel good, or will trigger your hormones to produce stress hormones. You make stress hormones, and your testosterone, if you're a man, your testosterone will start going down, your estrogen will go up, you'll get angry, you'll have fight or flight, you'll withdraw. All these things are predictable in different ways for every man, but they're pretty much predictable. And so danger throws your hormones out of balance. But if your lifestyle, the choices you make in your life, if I just sit and watch Netflix all day and don't go to work, my testosterone is going to go down. And because I'm enjoying myself, estrogen is going to go high. And then what's going to happen is my brain will trigger the adrenal gland to make cortisol. And I'll be in a stress state. And you do that for 3 years and I'll die. This is what happens with retirement for men. We've seen this. When men stop working, their testosterone goes down. They've got 3 years before their first heart attack. This is amazing. This is all basic, understanding, just looking at how men and women are different. So helpful for men, so helpful for women. But for women, they're the world changers. Women give birth to life. You have the power. You have the power to bring out the best in a man. It's amazing. And that's what I focus on. And why do men change? I started out with that theme today. We went up through a lot of the points of the different books today, but there's so much more. Then there's the for women over 40. What happens is you're now vulnerable, to Alzheimer's. Now this is the most exciting thing I wanted to be sure to share with everybody this time, is that there's all Alzheimer's and dementia and memory loss. These are all inevitable things that are happening today. 1 out of 6 women will have Alzheimer's if she lives beyond 65. That's a big risk. Not so much for men, but certainly men are vulnerable too. But for both men and women, a solution has just been discovered. This is something they've been pouring tons of money into and trying to find a solution for it, and they can't. And just came out this week in Nature magazine, one of the most reputable and peer-reviewed study, a 10-year study at Harvard that was done, showing that the product that I've been promoting for 20 years, this product, lithium orotate, can treat Alzheimer's and can prevent Alzheimer's. I discovered it 25 years ago because I had early stage Parkinson's and figured it out and started promoting this. And this is not just, it's a special form of lithium. It's lithium orotate. It's low dose combined with a whole variety of other good things like ashwagandha, bacopa. These things for focus. Ashwagandha is for calm. Rhodiola rosea. These are all proven to produce more dopamine, more serotonin. I mean, I take this every day for 25 years. This is amazing. Been recommending it to people. And some people, they say, oh, I took it, didn't do anything. Well, how long did you take it for? Or I took it for a while, then it didn't do anything. That's because you started feeling much better. If you have ups and downs and moods that go up and down, this will stop them in days. Now, of course, they say, hasn't been tested with children, whatever. I've been testing it with children. I go to my grandkids, my little kids, recommending people all the time. It's just a mineral that we're deficient in. And what they found is that they first started working with rats or some kind of animal, and they found that if they gave them a diet that had no lithium in it, they'd have Alzheimer's, dementia. And then if you give them diet with lithium in it, then add lithium to it, then they don't get dementia. They don't get the memory loss and everything like that. So it's like amazing. It's very few people are doing it right now. Since the study came up, we're stocking up on it, so we don't run out, because we can run out of it. And then there's people that give you the fake stuff. Because when I started manufacturing it through people, they said, John, these other products, they're not going through the process that you have to go through to bond orotic acid with lithium. So what they found, it wasn't just lithium. They tested all the forms of lithium. It was this form of lithium that I have in this product, that which is called elemental orotates. Now I'm changing the name since the study's out there. I'm going to put right on the cover, this is lithium plus or something like that. Because they've got all the extra ingredients that go along with brain health. So this is totally exciting. Now, this is so good. And if you have ups and downs, you'll notice right away what a difference it makes. And then you won't notice, and then you don't think, I need it. No, you need it for your brain. That's why I was taking it over and over, because I saw a study a long time ago that showed that if you put lithium in a petri dish with brain cells, the brain cells multiply. You grow the brain. And most people, their brain shrinks as they get older. You want to grow the brain. So this is a major factor that has just been discovered. It's going to go wild. It's the only thing proven to do this. This is amazing. So I'm seeing someone says, oh, please advise what brand. It's right here at my website, marsvenus.com. It will link you to Amazon where you can read about it. We're now changing the script, so it won't be, oh, here I am telling all of you about it, but it's won't be available for about 3 weeks, I think. So you can go right now if you want, and you can go to other sites called lithium orotate and get a bottle, but then come back to my site, which has got the best version of lithium orotate. And here it is. It's so funny. I'm giving this big promotion, and we just ran out of it at Amazon. So it's just gone off the page there yesterday, as a matter of fact. Anyway, it's what it is. So there's other companies that produce lithium orotate. Get a little bottle because you're going to need my bottle after that. So this is amazing because this also has other amazing substances. It has magnesium orotate, has zinc orotate. That's the men's version. The women's version, men have more zinc mainly because men need more zinc. Zinc produces testosterone. And orotic acid is a substance that bonds with lithium. It's the only one proven to work for Alzheimer's and dementia in your brain. And what I found, this is my experience, was that it helped, major factor in helping me heal my early stage Parkinson's. There's other things along with the whole treatment that I have recommended in the past. Whenever I talk about that, then people want me to talk to their, relatives. I can't. I have no time to do it. You have to monitor these people. And there's other things for Parkinson's that you need to take. And I used to have a video online going through all of that. But there is you can go to HINZ, Dr. Hinz, HINZ, if you have Parkinson's and relatives with Parkinson's. And they have a protocol with, I think, 300 doctors use it. It's just using supplements. And then it's PubMed has the articles, it's peer reviewed. And then many years later, they took it away. They say it's been canceled or something, but the study's still there. Simply because he developed a line of supplements, because it's all supplements. You can buy them at the grocery store. They have their own supplements. And when he started selling his own supplements, then they disqualified the study because he's making money off of it. As if all these studies, other people don't make money off of them. Anyway, so this is an amazing product. It's to be available in 3 weeks. Along with my book, the new book, Beyond Mars and Venus, should become available. And that will be great.
And your shakes, John, don't forget about that with Ellen. The shakes are amazing.
Yeah, well, the whole thing with my Mars Venus shakes, I was promoting those for 20 years up to the pandemic, and then I couldn't get all the special ingredients, and to get them I have to buy huge quantities, and I wasn't selling that huge of quantities. I'm not a big company, so I couldn't get them, and so I found a company which also makes something. Doesn't taste exactly the same, but it's delicious, and it's also lower in sugar, which doesn't taste the same, which is good. As we get older, we need to eat less and less sugar. So that's a product, and that is available. The one I use, the one I recommend, Rich will give her phone number. You can call Ellen, and she'll tell you all about it. I'm not going to take the time to do it, but
I just put it up there for them.
Okay, that's great. She'll give you free advice on how to lose weight using protein shakes. For me, it's optimal brain function using protein shakes in a specific form. It needs to be grass-fed. It needs to be low-heat processed. It needs to be the right balance of casein versus whey. It has to be, these are all things that help it become digestible. For many people, they can't really digest just milk products. Then it has to have these particular enzymes in the right balance so that you put the powder in warm water around 101 degrees. You let it sit for 45 minutes and it can completely digest it right there, fresh. It's all natural. The enzymes digest it. It bubbles up, and then it's completely assimilated. Because most of the protein we eat, all the protein we eat doesn't all get assimilated. There's only like 20-30% protein that we can actually utilize, and the rest has to be removed by the body. In this case, all 92% is totally assimilated because it's been pre-digested. And this is a unique product, and it's also a unique way of using the product, which I gave to all my grandkids, I gave to my children, I gave to me. It just helped the brain function, whatever. It's delicious. For children, it may not be sweet enough, so you might have to put a little banana in it or something, and then it will be sweeter and taste more delicious, like Grandpa's milkshake. You know, it was delicious. So you can call Ellen about that. Also, there's a product that she can explain to you if you want to help with hormonal balance. I will put it in the book as well, where you can. It's a combination of Chinese herbs. They're complicated words. It's hard to understand or remember, but it's without giving you hormones, it helps your brain balance your hormones. Now, I'm back to I was sharing so much. I'm so excited about this book about how do you make the estradiol, which took me a week of just, I knew it would. I see it working. I have clients. They're in menopause, and they do what I've asked them to do, and vaginal dryness goes away, sex becomes better, they enjoy. So I know it's real. So I got to find, how can I explain this? And it turns out that there's a function in the body, which is when you experience acute stress, which means you're safe, and yet you have the emotions come up of acute stress when you're safe. See, normally if you're safe, you don't have negative emotions coming up. So you create a setting where you're feeling safe, and with conscious intention, using your prefrontal cortex, because you have access to that when you're safe, then look inside yourself to explore what your negative emotions are when you're not upset. Okay, so this is like changing the whole animalistic reactions that we have, using our higher intelligence to look inside to the wounds of the past, or simply just to the suppressed emotions of the day. And when you have the estrone, you just have to look at the minor stresses of the day and then look into them. Why are you having that stress, and so forth? But getting yourself to feel negative emotions. So when you feel the negative emotions, when you're feeling safe, and you continue to feel safe, and your negative emotions are transferred into positive emotions. So this is actually, my feeling letter process does this. You start out with anger, sadness, fear, guilt, regret, shame, any of those emotions. You feel them deeply, and with more practice, you can feel them more deeply. And then when you feel them, automatically your brain goes from what's called the left prefrontal cortex, which is negative emotions. Automatically it will shift to the right prefrontal cortex. No, it's the right. It goes to the right prefrontal cortex looking at negativity. It goes to the left prefrontal cortex just by looking at positivity. When you are experiencing those negative emotions and you're in danger, what happens is you can only see negative. But when you experience your negative emotions while you're safe, then your brain will shift automatically without you doing anything. And now you can see positive emotions, but you have to look at them and identify them, give words to them, and express them. So you've just done this whole transformation. So you've taken acute stress and taken it away. And that's what the research shows, is that when your body has an acute stress reaction, something quick, but it's quickly resolved, like within the hour, you got it quickly resolved, then your brain will stimulate the production of DHEA. Your brain makes DHEA. When your brain makes DHEA, that's another hormone. That hormone, DHEA, will convert your testosterone into estradiol. And will actually, biologically, it's measured. When you have DHEA, surge of DHEA due to acute stress, which is quickly resolved, it will actually convert testosterone into estradiol at any age. So this is the power of the feeling letter exercise. It's the power of the Venus talk, where you express negative emotions to your partner and he is present for you. All these things are explained in my books. And it's also anytime you're vulnerable, to the extent you feel vulnerable, but you're also safe. Okay, it's contradictory. Okay, to ask your partner to do something for you has the potential of him saying no, but logically, emotionally, that potential is there. But logically, you've already agreed he's going to do it. So logically, you know you're safe. So by asking for help, that's vulnerability. This is the whole chapter I was working on yesterday, editing, which is the vulnerability allows you to experience a moment of acute stress, because that's what vulnerability is. It's acute stress. It's if you're feeling safe because you're afraid, there's a concern. Well, maybe he won't do it. Like every time you want help, if you gave yourself permission to want help, anytime you wanted more, but your partner was busy working or he's in his cave or anything, it's like you hold back. You hold back from asking because it would be dangerous to ask. Asking is a dangerous thing because you could be rejected, and nobody wants to be rejected. It's hurtful. So asking for help, and the books explain, my 5-minute ask, which you work out with your partner. And there's a lot of detail to this. This is why it takes books to explain this, how to explain to your partner and so forth. That's why I speed up, because I know all of these ideas, to fully land and to put into practice, you're going to need to read it 5 times. Okay, this is like completely new information, because we're living in a new world. Everything is different. We have to adjust our style to maintain our own equilibrium of our male and female side. So I did talk about the lithium, and ironically, I'm realizing just today it's sold out at Amazon. We've got a whole new batch with a whole new label. It will be on my website as well in 3 weeks. You can call Ellen right now. You can get the superfood shakes. You can get the hormone herbal support for your hormones. That will be very helpful. But this dementia thing is fantastic. I'm just very, very excited about it. And once again, I have to, just for a moment, my ideas come to show up to be useful, valuable. The whole Mars-Venus thing, I'm completely talking about how men and women are different. In 1980, people hated me for it, and in 1990, then enough people loved me for it. And then when I got on TV and I was, promoting this, and all the TV stations loved it, the books just went wild, went crazy, because people were going, yeah, that's me. Not what they're teaching in universities, not what our narrative is in society. They could look at their own experience, and based on their own experience, they can go, this is helpful to me. I don't care if they're trying to say we're all the same. We're different. And particularly the most important difference we need to realize is our identity. If you don't have a strong identity, then that's called low self-esteem. If you don't have a strong identity, what happens is you take things personally. Somebody rejects you. Oh, you feel so hurt by it. You're devastated by it. You get a negative feedback. You're devastated by it. You can't forget it. It just grips into you. Well, this is what happened to our younger youth. It's just the universities are filled with safe zones, and they can't handle different points of view. This is like the sickness that our society is going to. And I analyze that, and I realize what it is a major part of it. Of course, it's hormonal imbalance. It's, this is, and of not having a strong identity with your body. Okay, you're in a stress state. All that, taking it personally, is a stress state. And so, but where does it all start? Long before we have the need for individuation of a sufficient self-sufficiency, we shift around puberty, when testosterone goes 20 times higher in males, when estrogen shoots up for women, they start having their period. Suddenly, we're disidentifying in the world of knowing ourselves through the eyes of our parents and our family members. Now, whereas teenagers, we have to find our identity. And as teenagers, the way you find your identity is not in a, it's hard for me, in a abused class, okay? Abused class where you're, I'm a part of a minority which is abused. That's a worse self-esteem. And then you get your whole identity of being an abused, powerless victim person. And this is what we're promoting to all these kids is, the color of your skin or whatever, that makes you a victim. It's an oppressor-victim society, and you're oppressed. If you identify as being oppressed, you have the worst sense of identity. But that all comes from, see, the foundation of even taking that on was started with boys and girls are not that different. Boys and girls are not that different. See, there's a need that Maslow talked about, is our need to feel included. Oops, already we're at an hour. But if you don't have that, if you don't find yourself as a male with other males doing things with males that produce testosterone, like one example is being on a team, a competitive team. Competition is the most important thing for testosterone. So being on a competitive team is a key factor. And for women, have women's groups, women doing things with other girls, talking with girls, sharing with girls, interacting with girls. We're girls, we're different from guys. That whole identity of I'm different from girls, girls are different from guys creates attraction, curiosity, huge polarity if you identify with your body, with your gender. And we've been trying to neutralize that in our culture for so long. It's just been creeping in, creeping in. And if you don't have that strong identity, then you're believing a lie. And when you believe a lie, you disconnect with your ability to know what's true. And when you don't know what's true, you're...
And John, I think a lot of people confuse equality with difference.
Yeah, nicely put out. You know, we think, oh, and that's a beautiful thing. We all want to be equal, but equal doesn't mean sameness.
Yeah.
You know, equal means equal opportunity. It means equal, worthy of respect, equal, and equal intelligence. Even there's no research at all that says men are smarter than women, and some men are smarter than men. Some men are smarter than women. Some women are smarter than other women. Some women are smarter than men. I was just looking online. I saw this woman who had an IQ the highest in the world. It was a woman, 245. It's unbelievable. She reads all the books. She just looks at them in photographic memory. She has all this, you know, it's not intelligence is not a gender thing. Hormones are a gender thing. Identity is a gender thing. And what is the weakest thing in the world today is people's insecurity, weak identity. And then when you have weak identity, then you have this childlike, you regress, and you believe you believe what the government says. That's the weakest. You know, we know throughout history every government has been corrupt. They have the license to lie. Okay, that they have permission to lie. They do that. That's part of why we have government secrets. Well, that's secret. We can't tell you that. We can't tell you that for your safety. Well, we're finally growing up, and people are waking up. I mean, really, that there's so much deception, and it's hard, but you know, it's this challenge of finding the truth. But for me, where I focus on is in relationships. When you can have the truth of men are this way, women are this way, you have a strong identity, then that identity, along with now the self-sufficiency for women of learning to be happy without a man. Then when you have a man, and if you already have a man, then that makes it easier for a man and effective, and not just easy, it makes it possible. It makes it possible for a man to provide you happiness. Not that you can't make yourself happy, but through a man, you can become happier. Your life can be easier. You can feel greater comfort because you have that support. So in this book, there's a whole 2 different chapters. What can a man do for you? And I list all the benefits of having a man and also how you can do that for yourself. And then there's a chapter of what a man can't do for you. And a big part of that is when women don't have enough bonding where they feel included in identity with other women, they look to a man for the support they can get from a woman, which is called empathy. You can't get empathy from a man, very shallow. You can look at brain scans from men. See, we just don't have your reality. We are biologically different. We are wired up differently. We don't have a period. We can't make babies. We don't have these nurturing hormones that you have. You know, there's a different reality. And if a man, you know, resonates with you too much, okay, and he goes over to that side, if he's making a lot of estrogen, he can, but it's in a very dysfunctional way. For example, when a woman's estrogen goes up, and she will feel greater peace and calm if it's balanced with her testosterone. But her estrogen goes up 10 times, 20 times more than a man's, she will feel at ease and comfortable. Okay, she will feel good if she's getting the support she needs in her life. Again, that's everything has a caveat to it. If estrogen is low, she doesn't need a man's support. A man could be supporting and doing all this stuff, and it's just not good enough. This happens a lot with my clients. You know, I get the man to change. He's doing everything, and she feels like it's just not good enough. I can't. But yes, but. And the huge changes have been made. And she goes, why don't I feel happy? Because you don't yet understand how to process your negative emotions from childhood, because they're locked up inside. You know, you're a successful, powerful woman. And that, by the way, is the 6th book in the series, which is Men from Mars, Women from Venus, book 6, for strong, independent women. That is another issue. When women are high-powered and their husbands don't make money, or their husbands don't make as much money, that's a whole nother set of problems that have never had to exist if you want to still have a passionate marriage. My funny story with that is a story from The View where the women are all talking, and the hot chick is there, and they're talking about relationships, mostly dissing men. And then she says, "Well, I have an amazing husband." And they go, "Really? Tell us about it." And she says, "Well, I get up at 4 o'clock." She's making millions of dollars, right? So she's making a lot of money, and her husband doesn't have to work. So she says, "Yeah, I get up at 4 o'clock. I get home, but when I get home, he's a perfect husband. He's taking care of the kids all day. House is spotless. And he's made dinner. It's wonderful. I feel like I have the perfect wife." And yes, you do. You have the perfect wife. And then all the women said, "So what's the sex like?" And then she started laughing. She said, "Oh, they have 3 children. We haven't had sex for years, since our third child." And she just laughed. She's given up that whole passion thing. She's living in the material fantasy that money alone is happiness. One of the things I did in my book was have like quotes from, I think it's 15 women who have all achieved great success, saying, "Yeah, the success is nothing. I'm missing someone to hold me. I'm missing love. I'm missing a man." And none of them did say I'm missing sex, but you don't even know you're missing sex if your estrogen levels don't go high enough to feel like I'm missing it. So anyway, and I'm never just saying sex. I'm always talking about sex inside the context of love and commitment. That's my belief system. And that's also borne out. It's borne out with actual research showing that when a woman and a man have sex and they're in a committed relationship, and only when they're in a committed relationship, do you get this increase of 400% more prolactin, which lowers women's stress, lowers men's stress. And and prolactin is a double-edged sword. Prolactin holds you together, but it can also reduce sexual attraction. So you have to have prolactin to hold you together, but then you need polarity, which is what creates the attraction. So this is why it's very important that you have this polarity, because prolactin will be there if you're in a marriage. And it numbs your sex drive. It also keeps you together by not being interested in sex. Part of why couples end relationships is they're missing out on those feelings. They want that aliveness. Well, that aliveness comes from polarity. And what prolactin does is it gives you a great sense of contentment and fulfillment in your relationship, like your grandparents probably were, who, if they stayed together, they're committed, they're together, they're at ease, they're comfortable. That's prolactin. We all want that in our lives, but we also want the passion. Well, the passion happens when you have polarity, and then you have prolactin. Now, some people go serial monogamous. They just go from one person to another, and they'll have a lot of passion, but they have in their life they don't have prolactin. Okay, you can't have prolactin unless you're in a committed relationship. So these are all some great ideas. But by the way, for single women, you can produce prolactin. The benefits of prolactin through, once again, raising your estradiol, through processing your negative emotions. And it will be towards the end of this month. I'll finish up with this. Very soon, you will have access to the Heart Space app. I've just, me, I keep adding on. I'm a creative person. It's one, if you're in a bad mood, it helps you process your negative emotions so that you make estradiol. If you're a woman, for men, it will help you make a balance of testosterone and estrogen. So it does that, but then I added on to it for days when you're not upset. It also has a little process of asking you questions like you would as a coach. It will coach you, and then it will create affirmations for you. And then based on those affirmations, it will create a manifestation process where it actually creates the whole visualization of you having what you want and how does it feel and what actions are you taking. So it does a lot as you're kind of your friendly coach in your hand. Now, does that replace coaches? No, not at all. My coaches should know, and counselors can know. One of the best things you can do is, after you've done the process of feeling letter, is actually have someone read that to you. That doubles the impact of it. Because ultimately, what allows us to let go of negative emotions. Negative emotions means no objectivity. They're completely irrational. Okay, they're a part of the brain that has no connection to the prefrontal cortex, our objective side. So the more objective you can be, which is also safe, while you're feeling your emotions, and to have somebody else express your emotions out loud doubles your objectivity and frees you from the clinging aspect of negative emotions. In my little book, What You Feel, You Can Heal, that was one of the 3 processes I talked about in that, which is just simply duplication, is say what you feel and then have your partner repeat that. And so all you have to do is, I'm feeling this, and your partner repeats, then suddenly it's like, if it's over there, it's not here. That's why when we process the past, if we look at what we're upset about today and we feel it in the past, then it's not here and it's no longer in our present reality. So I haven't done that app yet, which is how to process your past. This all still sticks pretty much into present time, what's going on in your life and more recently. So those are some things to look forward to, everybody. Keep getting tuned in to our talks. Please share this with other people. You can share this video. You can put it out there. We can get more people coming, but I certainly appreciate you for joining me, giving me an opportunity to share these ideas out into the world. Thanks for joining me.
Material, John. Excellent. This really helps. And me personally, not just them.
And we went a little over our time today. I apologize for that. We'll try to keep it to an hour for people. But you can always go back. If it goes on too long, you can always go back at my Facebook page and see the other half of it, so you can get to what you missed. All right.
Beautiful.
Well,
have a wonderful day. We'll see everybody next week.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thanks, John. Thanks.
Bye.